Well, hi, it's Jennifer and welcome to today's video. This video is all about when things don't go according to plan and having to adapt and overcome. This is now the second helicopter that's flying over my truck as I've prepped to record this video. You can hear it going by right now. I am out of my house running errands because my husband ended up in the ER on Saturday. And I am creating this video because I have had to encourage myself lately. And if you are feeling behind or you're feeling overwhelmed or this beautifully planned out beginning to 2026 is not going according to what you had written out in your journal, I just want to let you know that it's going to be okay and that you can choose how you are going to view these speed bumps that come, these speed bumps that come into our lives. I mean, they just happen. And especially right now, it's the month of January. It's the beginning of the year. It's the collective globally, which is what I love about setting New Year's goals and intentions. I still do goals. I do intentions, but I also set goals specifically. And I love this time of year because there's this collective energy of all of us on the globe starting fresh, a new year. And it's just a natural time to reset. Typically after all the holidays, we've let our hair down. We enjoy, we weren't as strict with our eating for the most part. We might not have been as strict with our workout plans, and we might have put projects off to the side because we were busy celebrating, enjoying the festivities. I mean, it's wintertime here in Anchorage, Alaska. I mean, December, January, one feels like one wants to hibernate. The energy and drive to get a lot of things done is minimized, and especially after the holidays. I've been really looking forward to January 2026. I did Mel Robbins' end of year evaluation, and I'm going to be sharing that. I might do it in a voiceover at this point, but it was really wonderful. I loved it. I have set goals for 2026. I have set intentions for 2026. And my word of the year is choose. That came from, my breast cancer journey so far, that I have to decide how I'm going to feel about this experience. I didn't want to get breast cancer. Nobody wants to get cancer. Nobody wants to get ill or have a chronic condition or have any kind of issues. I have degenerative disc disease, and I deal with chronic pain. I mean, it's been decades actually at this point. I'm 55 years old. I've had chronic back pain since my early 20s. And I've got a level that's above I have a 2-level fusion on my lower spine. I have a single fusion in my cervical spine. The level that's above my fusion is just full of arthritis. It's angry. It's inflamed. It's been causing me a lot of pain. So I'm on a journey now to manage that. Nobody wants these kind of things. But often in this life, as we know this, we all know this, we get dealt cards that we really would like to hand back. We don't want those cards. It's like, I don't want to have to manage back pain for the rest of my life because I have to manage the worry. Like, what if one day I can't get out of bed, or like, da-da-da-da-da. Your brain can go crazy. Same thing with a cancer diagnosis. What if it comes back, or what if it metastasizes, or, 10 years down the road, I get re-diagnosed. Oh, there's a group of ravens right here. Let me show you. Hold on. Of course, once I spin the camera around, they disperse. I could see them dragging trash behind the snowbank right here. But nobody wants these cards that are dealt to us. And, sometimes they come in January. Sometimes they come at the new year when you are just like, yes, I'm ready for this new year and I'm excited. I've got all this, I got everything planned out. I've been writing in my journal. I've been setting my intentions, and things just happen. I have found that each year that I pick a word of the year, I am challenged in a great way with that word. Like, it helps me. For example, last year, my word of the year was abundance. because I just wanted to remind myself of all of the amazing things that have happened in my life. And that was inspired by, oh, there's a raven right here. Hold on. That raven's probably like, hey, lady, you got something for me? It's a big boy. Last year, my word of the year was abundance. And that was inspired by the Tony Robbins seminar that I went to. I attended my first Unleash the Power Within in 2024. I learned how to do his priming exercise there, and it is a beautiful experience. I'll link it down below, but the priming exercise teaches you to tap into your memories of all of these amazing things that have happened in your life, as well as preparing for the things that you want to have happen in your life. You are setting your intentions and your goals in your mind as you do the priming, while remembering your past achievements, good things that have come into your life, people who have loved you, experiences, small, great, big, it doesn't matter. And it is a beautiful experience. It was also on the heels of several years of counseling that I had done. And then when I had attended that seminar, abundance was a reminder to me of all of the great things that I do have in my life. For me, a childhood trauma has been abandonment and being alone. So the practice of reminding myself of all the abundance that I have within me was really helpful, and it paired beautifully with the counseling. So last year, that was my word of the year, and I was even challenged. You know, I've shared on this channel in a couple of videos, excuse me. You know, I've been estranged now from my mom for several years at this point. My mom and my aunt, who were like my two parents. They are the only connection, meaningful, deep connection that I had had with my entire extended, all of my family, my father's side and my mom's side. My mother's side of the family is very, very small, but my mother had a very traumatic upbringing, a hard life, and she shuts people out really, really easily. And I shared a little bit about my experience with my mom, and it's been hard to have her just walk out of my life. When what had happened was, just super briefly, was I came to the point where I realized that I really wanted to have a closer relationship with my mom. And I wanted to approach her, because we've lived apart now for years. I left home, joined the military at 19. I'm 55 now. I've never lived in my home state since then. And I really wanted us to, I don't know, do like some mother-daughter activities or connect more. Like, she would never call me. I always had to call. I always had to initiate. Anytime that we got together or visited, I had to initiate. And, you know, I was really feeling the lack, because there have been times in my life where times have been tough, as we all go through hard times. And if I didn't have the energy to call, or I couldn't keep up, the silence was so loud from my mom. And anyway, so I really wanted to approach her after all this counseling I had done, and I wanted to pursue a closer, more meaningful relationship with her. I knew I was running a risk, because my mother does not like to be pushed. And I knew that if I pushed her past her comfort level, she'd shut me out, and that's exactly what happened. So, yeah, anyway, so that's been the last 3 years. I've had to process that, and I decided this time around I wasn't going to pursue her. I've pursued her my entire life. Actively. Aggressively. Not like in a bad, weird way, but like, you know what I mean? Like, I've been on it. And this time around, I'm like, you know what? I'm not pursuing. And my aunt, who she lives with, that is her, you know, they just grew up in a really abusive home. My mom's the youngest of 4 girls. The second oldest and my mom have been best friends since my mom's birth. And my aunt has been like a second mom to me, and they live together. So of course, when my mom stepped out, then, you know, my aunt really couldn't continue relationship with me because of my mom. So it was a big loss. I felt like I lost both parents and my connection to my extended family. So the abundance practice was getting me out of that funky thinking, that negative thinking, that abandonment thinking, that loss, and reminding me of the goodness. When I got diagnosed with breast cancer, it's funny how these things will happen in your life where your words will get challenged. I was diagnosed with breast cancer, which of course was terrifying. And I remember thinking, if my mother knew I had cancer, would I be worthy enough for her to call? Like, would she call me if she knew I had cancer? And then I was like, oh, no. Hold on. You know how you have those thoughts? I'm like, oh, no, brain, no, we're not going there. We are not going to do that. We are not going to think that way. But the thought came, and I was like, nope, we're going to put that away. We're not going to entertain that. But that was just through counseling and through going to things like Unleash the Power Within that have helped me to navigate that. And it's not been easy. It's been a journey, but practicing abundance and seeing the abundance has been so helpful. I was so blessed during my cancer journey. Oh, I have been blessed, not only by like my immediate family and friends, but by my incredible YouTube family, dear souls that have just fed me with the most beautiful and encouraging words and support and prayer, tokens of love. Amazing doctor. I mean, like, I've been so blessed, abundantly blessed. This year's word is choose, because now I'm settling into a new year, and I could be like, oh, woe is me, you know, I'm gonna be on medication for 5 years and I feel like crap on it, and no, you know, and I do, because it's hard. And like, oh my gosh, my joints, it's a journey. But I have to choose what I'm gonna think. Gluten, my intention and goal. Well, my goal is to give up gluten. My intention is to cook twice a week to find gluten-free recipes so that I can reach that goal. I could choose that. I'm a big girl. I can choose. So my choose word has been challenged already, because I had all these plans for January. I had YouTube plans. My husband and I had travel plans. My husband just returned home from serving our country with Make Tennessee Safe Again, the President Trump program. He worked several weeks of 12-hour shifts straight. And he had just returned home and he worked midnight shifts, plus it was a 3-hour time difference. So he was so discombobulated. He had been home for a few days and was, you know, crazy sleep schedule, just relaxing. And I'm like, honey, give it a week. Because he had a few days off from work just to like settle. I'm like, take your time. Well, anyway, Saturday morning, we get up. This was on Saturday. This was January 11th. I think was, no, 19, 18, 17, January 17th, Saturday morning. A nice peaceful morning. I'm prepping for a vlog, and my husband and I are just having a lovely day together. You know, I do a whole bunch of house projects. I'm in the shower, and my husband and I are talking. We just had ordered DoorDash, and we were going to relax for the evening and eat our food and just have a lovely, relaxing night. And my husband was carrying down some laundry down the stairs, and that's the last I heard of him. And, you know, I was just, you know, getting out of the shower, lotioning and all that type of stuff. And I heard this horrible sound that sounded like my husband fell down the stairs. I mean, it sounded like the loudest, you know, he's 220 pounds. So it was 220 pounds. I mean, hitting the ground with no bracing, like no preventative bracing at all. And I was in the bathroom, and like the stairs are like right here. And I was like, and so I just come running out, and I'm like, are you okay? And there is my husband at the bottom of the stairs. I don't even know how he got into the position that he did, but his head was like if this is a stair and this was a wall, his head was like here and his body was here. We have a split level home. So we have a short amount of stairs, a landing, and then a short amount of stairs. What he says happened was he had a handful of laundry. The lights were off in the entryway except for our Turkish lamps. It was darker because it was really cloudy that day. He had a box with a basket on it. He was going down the stairs, and he's like, all I remember is it was dark. He's like, I suddenly realized I had missed a stair. And he somehow went to, you know, whatever his immediate reaction was. He thinks what happened was his leg bent all the way, like where his heel touched his thigh, like his butt. And he just somehow fell on it. He ruptured his patellar tendon, which holds the kneecap in place. So his kneecap was up on his thigh. And of course now, before that, I hear the sound that sounded more like, because you know how it is, if you have stairs in your home, you've slipped on your stairs. You've slipped going up your stairs. You've slipped going down your stairs. You've slipped. I've slipped. I've had a couple of children who have fallen just like a little ways down the stairs. This one sounded like a bad fall. And I was just so hopeful, and I go and I get out, and I'm looking down at my husband, and I'm like, "Are you okay?" And he's like, "Nope." And he's like, I'm like, 911, and he said, "Yep." So I called 911. They immediately put me on hold, which I thought was weird, but it wasn't long. And then they transferred me to the medic, because we didn't need police, we needed medic. And in the meantime, I'm on 911, and I'm trying to get dressed, and anyway, it was just a whole crazy thing, and I'll maybe share more about it later on in a different video, just for sake of time with this one. But all that to say, paramedics arrived, fire arrived, it was chaos, husband in the ER, and he is now at home. My son's home with him. We've been giving him pain medication, muscle relaxers round the clock. We're waiting to hear from an orthopedic surgeon to get him in. He's going to need surgery. It's going to be a really long recovery, a lot of physical therapy. And so currently right now, his leg's completely immobilized. We had travel plans. Those are gone. I had all these home projects and YouTube videos I wanted, all planned out for 2026. That's all off the window. Just even how I'm spending my time has now completely changed. And I had to decide. I'm like, okay, God, how wonderful is this? I get to decide how I'm going to handle this. Of course. Obviously, when somebody has an injury, naturally everything goes to the side and you tend to the person. That's normal, and I understand that. But I can choose how I'm going to think about it. And that was my encouragement for this video, that if you feel like you're behind because something has happened, or you just feel like you're behind because you had a rough year. I kind of felt that way. Like I had a rough year and I felt like I was behind. I'm not behind. I can plan for my 2026 at any time that I want to. So I've taken my time doing it. And as far as all my goals and all these plans, my YouTube videos, they'll come around. It'll happen. I can still cook. What I'm going to do after is I've got a couple of recipes. I'm going to go hit the grocery store. So I've got all my supplies for 2 gluten-free meals this week. That's what I'm going to be working on. And I'm filming here in my car because my husband is up in our main space where I normally record. That's where he's recovering. I just had to move the camera around. I didn't realize how the sun was coming around here. Hopefully it looked okay because I'm looking at the dot right here. The sun's so low on the horizon. But anyway, I've had to choose. And you know what? Okay, I'm going to have to put off a lot of my plans right now. But that's okay. And you may find yourself here in January 2026, like you had all of these wonderful plans, but either A, you've just been slower getting started because you had a rougher year. Maybe you went through cancer treatments or just a big life change or whatever. You're not behind. It's not too late. You can still evaluate your year. You can still set goals. You can still set your intentions. Or like me right now, my husband, he needs my attention. That's our focus right now. And I have to put things off to the side just because. And of course, that's not a hardship, but do you know what I mean? I have to decide how I'm going to think about it. And I'm just going to go with it. So that has been helpful for me. We can choose how we think about things. I had to grab my camera. The sun is just coming around and it's so low right now. I can't escape it. But don't lose heart. You always hear about people who say, by the 18th of January, people give up on their goals or intentions. No, you know what? And if you feel like, oh, shoot, January's almost over, it's too late for me. No, it's not. You can still do an end of year evaluation. You can still set goals. You can still work towards your intentions, even if they're modified. Just work on one thing. Like for me, it's gluten-free right now. I'm working on cooking gluten-free, prepping for an elimination diet. So I hope that that encourages you. I'm going to go ahead and get off of here because the lighting is going to get really awful. I'm hoping to catch a few moments with birds. I'm not sure. I've had my car turned off right now, and I'm a little cold, so I'm going to go ahead and warm it up. But it's not too late, and we've got this. And 2026 is going to be a great year because we're going to choose it that way. All right. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.